Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hud, and welcome back to the Baseball Hud. And this is a revisit to the insane asylum known as WFAN.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny fun.
Now, welcome back to the Baseball Hud 2, and hopefully you like this video. And of course, this is a revisit to the insane asylum, the nervous hospital, the funny farm, if you will, of WFAN. Now, the last time we talked about WFAN was the other day, and the mid-morning show, which has been a target, has been a subject of this channel and of the host for 2 years because they lie. This is a group of guys, Brandon Tierney and Sal Licata, they lie, okay? They lied about Pete Alonso for several years. They tried to run him out of town. And this goes for both of them. We know that 2 years ago, Spaz Licata, a.k.a. Sal Licata, said that Pete Alonso was amongst the toxic members of the Mets clubhouse. The clubhouse was toxic, and he was part of that clubhouse. And they backtracked when they got brushed back from the big media and from a lot of fans. And then a few months later, Brandon Tierney, the other part, who is the coconut head, and he has the logic of a coconut, said during that offseason that Pete Alonso wanted to be a Yankee. I have proof here. I have the receipts here at the hut. I have all these video clips of them basically lying, in particular about the New York Mets. And who the hell knows what else they lie about these two on their show. They never had a reputation of lying to the audience, but boy, they're knee deep in it. And of course, this weekend I did a video on Coconut Heads. Everybody has a nickname, some way, shape, manner, or form here, thought. But the Coconut Head, Brandon Tierney, had made an accusation that Juan Soto was not 26 years old. He basically said he was 30 years old, saying that he lied about his age. There's no proof of it. A lot of people say, I have proof. I had some guy tell me he had proof. Didn't give me proof. If you're going to lie to the host, you have to send me a link, send me some proof. Nobody's done that. And then they bring up Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols has nothing to do with this particular player. But Juan Soto obviously was with the Yankees. Nobody talked about this last year. Nobody's talked about this particular player for 7 years in Major League Baseball, that he's been lying about his age. And obviously, Brandon Tierney's a Yankee fan. We know that. He's let it be known that. Never said anything. He wanted to give Juan Soto $700 million last year. And what's interesting, I would mention, they were talking about, I heard this, saw bits and pieces of this on X. They were debating Kyle Tucker versus Juan Soto. Kyle Tucker did not run out of ball in Chicago, and he's trying to get a big contract from the Cubs. He got booed out of the ballpark, folks. He's struggling, and he's not running hard. That's not a good sign. Keep that in mind. That's a guy who's always had a great reputation. He wasn't running out of ball. Not good. Not good. Not a good look. But Brandon Tierney said that Juan Soto was not 26 years old. That he basically lied about his age. That's a lie, and people are pushing back on this. This from awful announcing. The WFAN's Brandon Tierney crossed a line with Juan Soto age comments. Based on what we know today, Tierney's accusations were unfounded and unfair. Just a plain out lie. That's my take on it. Many people in sports media act like members of a sewing circle. The volume of rumors, gossip, and speculation banter with that group is astounding. It might be fun to chat about, and it can be a benign bonding experience. However, some conversations are not meant for the airwaves. It's one thing to hypothesize in private. It's another thing to broadcast unsubstantiated conjecture. WFAN's Brandon Tierney, who I would mention, he's desperate for ratings. This is about people, and because your host has been hammering them for 2 years, they've put themselves on YouTube to do a live stream. So they want people to watch the live stream. That's stupid. They know what they're doing. WFAN's Brandon Tierney recently, and without any proof, questioned Juan Soto's age. Now, Juan Soto is going to become the Darryl Strawberry of our age. WFAN is going to hammer him into oblivion, just like they hammered Darryl, just like they hammered Carlos Beltran. He's the modern day Carlos Beltran at the Fan. And they're going to hammer him for however long he's here. They're going to hammer him and hammer him and hammer him. Whatever he do is wrong, and when he does, it's right. Even if he does is right, it's always wrong. The only number that is not up to his standards, obviously, is his RBI total and his runners in scoring position number, what the batting average is. Every other number is on par with his career line. Home runs, walks, runs scored. He's going to score over 100 runs. It's a failure of a season. He's going to walk over 100 times. It's a failure of a season. Whatever a Met does is wrong. And even when they do it, it's right. It's still wrong. WFAN's Brandon Tierney recently, and without any proof, questioned Juan Soto's age. According to MLB.com, Soto was born on October 25th, 1998 in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. He's 26. Facts aren't good enough for the coconut head. He took a shot at Soto, who has struggled in his first season of a 15-year, $765 million contract with New York Mets. Everything he does is scrutinized. Just like Carlos Beltran, just like Darryl Strawberry. 15 years of this. Does he look 26? Does he? Asked a coconut. I shouldn't even start this. No, but you did. This is going to get me in trouble. From who? It's not going to get in trouble. But does he look 26? When you're 26, you still have a youthful glow. Does he look 26? Again, who looks 26? A lot of people don't look their age. A lot of people don't look their age. Who the hell knows what these guys are? How old they are? Bald. Completely bald. After co-host Spaz Licata pushed back on the reckless speculation, the coconut said, okay, I can't prove it. Well, I don't know for sure. I think there's a good chance he's not 26. I'll say it. Okay, so you saying it or you're not saying it? Amid their conversation, Albert Pujols' name comes up. David Sampson, the former Marlins president, had said on the Dan Le Batard show in 21 that Pujols, also a Dominican Republic native, has been lying about his age. MLB.com lists Pujols' birth date as January 16, 1980. Well, how old is he? Who cares? Who cares at this point? There is not one person in baseball, not one executive who believes Pujols is the age that he says he is. David Sampson said the amount of fraud that was going on in Dominican back in the day, changing the names, changing the birthdays, it would blow your mind. This is 4 years ago. Pujols retired in 2022. Okay, what does one have to do with the other? Nothing. I know this is meant to put in a little perspective of this story, but we have a history with these two people in the mid-morning show. That's the problem. Questioning the ages of athletes is not new. What makes the Coconut's comments about Soto so concerning is that they perpetuate a stereotype about Latin baseball players. His statements conveniently overlook the fact that MLB now has a department dedicated to these claims. I would also mention, I mentioned in the previous video, that after 9/11, the United States started cracking down on the birth certificates of athletes coming in from Central and South America. And players started getting a lot older than they were. So this is sort of, I don't know, it's such a weird story. I mean, we do know this stuff happens. But this is a player that's been around the majors a long time. According to a January 2024 article by the Munchkin Ken Rosendahl and Evan Dralich of The Athletic, age and identity fraud among amateur baseball players from the DR has been an issue. Nevertheless, MLB conducts background investigations on international amateur players from all nations through its Age and Identity Investigation Department, establishing more than 10 years. Well, first of all, they don't want players that are too young, because that's happened too, where players are too young and they're playing. That seems to be the new problem, from what I've heard, is that they may be too young to be playing and professionally. In November 2024, according to an ESPN story, a teenage prospect in the Dominican Republic who had verbally agreed to sign with the Padres was found to have falsified his paperwork, making him 5 years older than previously believed. Juan Soto has been in the big league since his 2018 rookie season with the Washington Nationals. While there might have been conspiracy theories about his age, speculation is unwarranted in professional media space. That's right. But they are the mainstream media, the mainstream sports media. This is the center of it. The teams that have the most invested in Soto, the Nationals, the Padres, the Yankees, and the Mets, have presumably done their due diligence. These are billion-dollar organizations making multi-million-dollar investments. But according to the WFAN and the media, whatever the Mets do is wrong, and what they do is still wrong. Don't forget that. If they believed that Soto's birthday was inaccurate, that information would have leaked out. MLB teams have access to several reporters who would have been happy to be the first to break that story. So far, the loudest and only voice on this is the Coconut Head. In the realm of journalism, sports talk radio has consistently operated with a gray area. Yeah, okay, no gray area. Bullshit. These shows primarily focus on entertainment, are not strictly governed by the same criteria as television, newspapers, or a credible website. However, fairness should always be a factor in all media. Reporting is an evolving process and information is regularly updated. Perhaps what we know about Juan Soto today will be different tomorrow, but based on what we know today, the Coconut's accusation were unfounded and unfair, and just a plain out lie. This is what this mid-morning show has a reputation now. Okay, they've alienated several people within the media. They alienated Carl Banks. The radio station has alienated John Heyman. He will not go on that station by how he's been treated. Okay, so the radio station does not have a great reputation amongst the rest of the media, which is surprising because they've been around for so long. But that's the kind of personalities they have on the air. They're not professional. They lie. I mean, really, what they did to Giants legend Carl Banks is disgusting. You hang up on him because you're having a conversation and you don't like the way the conversation goes. This is this particular program. They do this stuff, okay? They hang up on guests, and this was a paid guest. They'll hang up on guests, folks. They'll make up stories about a player saying he's toxic in his own clubhouse, even though people come out and support him. They make up similar lies about the player, saying that the player is a guy that wants to play for the crosstown rival Yankees. And this has been going on for 2 years. And this is another episode. And it makes sense that this is crazy. And this makes sense that this was something that you would only find in the nervous hospital known as WFAN. Subscribe to the baseball too.
They're coming to take me away, ha ha. They're coming to take me away, ho ho, hee hee, ha ha. To the funny fun.